Hello and a very warm welcome to Newsnight, your one-stop destination for news and analysis on the day's biggest news stories. Tonight we ask, will amendments passed by the cabinet in marriage laws improve the lot of unhappily married couples? I'm Munmun. First up, the headlines. Death toll in Saran midday meal tragedy rises to 23. The principal of the school is still absconding. No arrests made so far. In Saran, such incidents have come to the fore from other states as well. It seems the tragedy is not just limited to Bihar.
First Chhapra, then Madhubani and Gaya, now Neyveli in Tamil Nadu and Amritsar. Reports of children falling sick after eating midday meals pouring in from all across the country. 102 girls of a government school in Neyveli in Tamil Nadu are in hospital after their midday meal left them sick. Local officials say that the children between 9 and 16 years of age are not in danger and that the hot lunch served to them was most likely contaminated. The girls had complained of giddiness and nausea soon after they ate lunch. Officials suspect they were served contaminated eggs. Another such case has come to light in Amritsar. Insects and worms have been found in a school kitchen in Amritsar which used to cook free food for children.
We have worms and insects in our food. Water is really dirty.
Students have alleged that the oil being used for cooking the meal has been found to be contaminated. The water too is not potable.
Principal is the overall in charge here. Whenever I am in charge, I check everything. Everyone knows about the water conditions. I have answered whatever you asked me.
And in Delhi, it wasn't a midday meal but iron and folic acid tablets that led students sick on Wednesday.
Ma'am gave us iron tablets. We started a stomachache and then were taken to hospital by our parents.
8 students of a Delhi government-run school
Now emerged that an alert was sounded by the central government on the irregularities in the implementation of the midday meal scheme in Saran as well as in 11 other districts across the country. But the alert was ignored, opening up the possibility for Saran a like midday meal tragedy. On tonight, the Cabinet has approved an amendment to the Marriage Laws Amendment Bill based on the recommendations made by a group of ministers. As per the amendment, a woman is entitled to a share in her husband's ancestral property on divorce. If the ancestral property cannot be divided, then the woman should get adequate compensation by calculating the husband's share in it. The court hearing the divorce case can take a call on the amount of compensation. It also leaves to the judge's discretion to grant divorce applied for under mutual consent after a 3-year period in the absence of a second joint application.
The change is approved by the cabinet in the
filmmaker and columnist. I welcome you all to Newsnight. Let me begin with you, Ms. Agarwal. Will the amendment make divorce easier and cut down the misery of all those who are locked in unhappy marriages?
There are 2 aspects of this amendment which is going to be announced soon by the government. As far as making divorce easier is concerned, I do hope that it will be a quicker decision for any unhappy couple in the wake of any particular spouse or one spouse not going ahead for the second motion. Because until and unless both the parties file the second motion after filing the first motion, within a minimum period of 6 months and a maximum period of 18 months, the mutual consent divorce cannot be granted and the second motion falls through. However, now with this amendment sought to be made, if any of the spouse backs out and does not wish to go ahead with the mutual consent petition, it leaves one spouse high and dry, and again he or she has got no other option but to go to the courts again and file it in
the personal income tax.
Absolutely right. That in keeping these ground realities in mind, the fact remains that with this amendment, the situation is going to become more transparent. And if from my independent income, which I have earned on my own, but now the woman need not be dependent upon the husband's self-acquired property alone.
That's
and
right.
she can also stake a claim in the husband's ancestral property. Be that as it may,
that couples who are in unhappy married lives, for them it becomes a lot more easier now once this amendment is of course passed by the parliament to break out of those marriages.
Yes.
One thing, I'll come to you now.
While I think as Rekha has said, while the clause that one partner can go ahead and file the second motion and therefore not be dependent on the other partner for under mutual consent, that is fine. I think that's a very, very well thought out provision. But when it comes to a share in ancestral inherited property, I think we are heading into a realm where there will be a lot more confusion and a lot more litigation. And I think if you're trying to empower the woman, I would still, and this is, I'll ask, I think it would, any self-respecting woman, would not want to be considered a menace when she gets married by any family. If you want to empower the woman, then you make, and this law has been passed, that a woman's share in her father's property is mandatory. So when she is born, if you want to empower the woman, she should be empowered right from the time she was born in her father's house. That's where disempowerment begins. That's where inequality begins. But if she is given the right to an equal share of property, her father's property, then she is not in the position, she will never be in a position where she is completely dependent on the man. And I think that increased litigation, there will be confusion. What is ancestral property? How many people have a claim over it? If, for instance, if it is in a case where the man does not have liquid cash, and there are 4 other people who claim that property, what's going to happen then?
Right. Shaina, I'll come to you now. Do you think this particular amendment is
discriminated against? And if you say 90 out of 100 cases, there are cases where it's dowry harassment, where there is domestic violence, where there is beating up at home, etc., etc. So in that sense, a lot of women have survived through marriage only because they know that there is no hope, there's no way to go back to their parents' home, and if they continue to stay, atrocity towards a woman. So if this makes her stronger, so be it.
Absolutely, and there is also a ground of irretrievable marriage that has been included. Some say that since that ground has been included as a new ground for divorce, so perhaps you need laws to strengthen women. But before I come to whether too much has been left to the discretion of the judges or the courts, I'll come to you, Monica, on whether you think that a husband too should have a right or a share in the property of the wife on divorce, be it self-acquired or ancestral. Will that be something which will promote gender parity?
I think it's a very progressive step taken by the youth to the institution of marriage. And I don't think so. We should not jump to conclusion. It's just an amendment made, and lots have been left to the court. And we should expect the justice will be delivered, and we should make it a point that these things should be supported in the parliament, and see to it that it is passed. Because for a change, I think no government has done this, and we should applaud the UP government for the steps taken by women.
There are 2 points, Ms. Agarwal, that I want you to reflect some light on. One is that whether, as I asked her earlier, should the husband also get a share of the woman's property on divorce, self-acquired, as well as ancestral. And the other is too much being left to the discretion of the courts.
I'll answer the second question first regarding the discretion being left to the court. Well, I do agree that from all that I've been even hearing myself in the morning, as Shaina was also talking about, a lot seems to be left to the discretion of the court, especially deciding whether a property is, first of all, one has to decide the character of a property, whether it is actually a self-acquired property or whether it is an ancestral property, where is the nucleus of the money from which the property was purchased. As it is, as the other speakers also spoke about, that we have in India, we have the
concentrations on women. We are all women here, we all feel it. But when you talk about justice, you can't now, this was on, the load was on this side, you can't pick it up and put it on that side.
Yeah.
Justice has to be in the middle. It has to be fair to both sides. So therefore, we are a country of very talented.
The amendment which has been proposed, or which the cabinet has decided to pass in the upcoming parliament session to the existing Marriage Laws Amendment Bill 2010, make the lot of unhappily married couples easier. The jury is out on that one. We'll soon do a break now, but remember you can catch all the latest news from the world of politics, sports and business on our Twitter handle. We'll be back in just a bit. Please don't go anywhere. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching News Night. Here's a recap of the headlines. Death toll in Sara and midday meal. Well, moving on now to another story that we are tracking, and this is about what has really happened in Jammu and Kashmir. At least 4 people have died in clashes between the security forces as well as protesters in Ramban district of Jammu and Kashmir. The BSF claims it acted in self-defense. JNK Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has condemned the killings. A curfew has been imposed in Ramban. Squashed the Medical Council of India's notification for holding common entrance tests for MBBS, BDS and postgraduate medical courses. The court held that the MCI notification was ultra vires of the constitution. However, it made it clear that its verdict will not affect the admissions that have already taken place.
All medical colleges
for the next Lok Sabha polls, according to sources, the BJP has decided to set up 11 committees which will focus on various aspects of electioneering, including organizing of rallies and reaching out to the youth. The decision was taken at a meeting of the Parliamentary Board of the BJP today. Remember, it is BJP's top policy-making body, and that meeting was attended today by Narendra Modi, who is the Election Campaign Committee